Whenever I speak, I actually like to begin with this prayer. And this prayer is actually a prayer from Moses. And as we know, Moses was charged with a very difficult task. And that is that he had to actually take his people and approach one of the greatest tyrants in the world. And at the time, that was Pharaoh, of course. And so what he asked God, oh my Lord, expand my chest. In other words, increase my knowledge and make my matters easy for me and help them to understand my speech. And please, oh my Lord, take the knot out of my tongue so that they can understand that which I am trying to convey to them. So I ask God for this, for him to answer this supplication, because there's actually something special in this prayer and within these words that I think is actually relevant to what I want to speak upon today. And that is the topic of hope. You know, because when it comes to hope, we put our hope in a lot of things. And in this case, Moses had a very difficult task. He had a very difficult job to do. And so, of course, the question is, how is he going to do his job? How is he going to fulfill his mission? Because after all, it was a very difficult task. He had to face one of the greatest tyrants of his times, which was Pharaoh. And Pharaoh at that time was actually one of the worst tyrants that had ever walked the earth. And so this is who Moses had to face. And so Moses is asking God to increase him in knowledge, increase him in wisdom, to increase him in understanding, and also to untie the knot from his tongue, because Moses had a problem with his speech. Moses had a speech impediment. So he asked God to help him so that people would understand the message that he was trying to say, that he was trying to share. But you see, the point that I would like to make is that when Moses is taking on this difficult task, where does he put his hope? In who does he put his hope in? And this is actually a really important question, because we put our hope in a lot of things. And I think the reason why we end up falling, the reason why we end up being broke is because, well, also the reason why we become disappointed is because it's like, you know what, it's like a person that is climbing. And I know, so if you ever seen a picture of a person climbing or a video of a person climbing, you know, just different images, different videos of a person climbing a mountain or a cliff. And when you're climbing a cliff, there's something actually really important in that whole equation. The most important part and the most important thing in the process of a person climbing a cliff is the equipment. And it's basically the rope that is holding that person up that's the most important part of the equipment. Okay, so we know it's basically the rope that is supporting and holding that mountain climber up. And so suppose that person said, I'm going to get rid of the string, which is the most supportive piece of equipment during this process and during this climb up. And suppose this person says, you know what, I don't need that piece of equipment. I'm okay with the twigs. You know, the twigs that you see on the way up a mountain, the little twigs that are very weak, and, you know, the small twigs that are out of the side of the cliff there. So suppose the person says, I don't need the support of this sturdy and strong rope that could 100% support me with this climb up this mountain. But instead, I'm going to go with the twigs, and I'm going to go with the support of the twigs. Okay, so we all know we don't have to be professional rock climbers or professional mountain climbers to know that if the climber attempts to climb the mountain just from the support of the branches and the twigs, what's going to happen? Well, first of all, the twig is going to snap. And then second of all, we know that the trip doesn't look good for the mountain climber or for the person climbing. And so the point that I want to make is it the branch's fault? Is it the twig's fault? Is it like you can go and sue the twig or get upset with the branches for breaking because those things couldn't support the climber's weight? That doesn't make much sense, does it? So we know that it's not the twig's fault, it's not the branch's fault. So we know that it is the climber's fault for assuming, believing, and thinking that the branches or the twigs can support their weight on the way up this climb. Because a twig we know, a branch we know cannot support my weight. It cannot. And if I'm going to hold on to a twig with all of my weight, then I am the one actually to blame, because it is not the nature of the twig and it is not the creation of the twig to hold my weight. And it is not the purpose of the twig to hold me up. And if I do that, if I hold on to the twig with all of my weight, we all know that the twig snaps. It breaks. Okay, so we know that. Okay, so what happens to the climber that tries to use the twig as support while climbing up this mountain? Exactly. The climber falls. The climber falls down. And that's because of something called gravity. So the question is, can I curse gravity? Can I get upset with gravity? Can I get upset with gravity because I fell? This is just the nature of the world, the nature of the creation. Okay, so why am I talking about this? Because this is a metaphor. This is actually what we do. This is what we do in life. We're going through life and we're climbing. We're going through a journey and we're on a journey, and in that journey we have to climb, we have to struggle, we have to strive, and in that journey we have to hold on to things. But what we do is we hold on to the wrong things. We hold on to, and we put all of our weight, for example, onto money. And we put all of our weight and all of our hope into money to keep us secure. So as long as I have the money, I feel secure. But if I lose that money, then I feel insecure. For example, we put our hopes in other people. We put our hopes in our efforts. We put our hopes in our career. We put our hopes in our degrees. And when we do that, we get to the point where it snaps and we get disappointed, and sometimes we become despondent because we fall. And again, for example, if I'm going to put all of my weight and all of my dependence on another human being, when that human being cannot carry my weight, for me to then blame that human being or blame that person for not being able to carry my weight, it is the similitude of the climber climbing the mountain, reaching out for a twig and expecting the twig to be able to bear the weight of the human being. It is the same similitude, if you will, right? Because it's not the twig's fault. It's not the nature of the twig to be able to hold my weight and to support my weight. Okay, so we can't expect the twig to be something that it is not. And for me to expect a human being to be only something that God can be to me, then I would be expecting it to be something that it is not. So when you hold on to things that were not designed to hold you up and to help you on your way up, don't become despondent, depressed, or discouraged when you learn that these people cannot hold you up. Because for surely, God says that if you mention my name among people, and among a group of people, then God says that he will mention your name among a group of angels. And God said that if you take one step towards him, that he will run towards you. And God also said that if you reach your hand out towards God, then he will hug you and embrace you. So what does all this mean? And what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that you should be grabbing on to God, and you should be grabbing on to a thorough and honest and strong connection and intimate relationship with God. Because God said that if you do the things that pleases him, that he will send help for you from directions and from ways in which you could not perceive. He will send help for you and support for you from direction and from ways in which you cannot even understand. And so he will be there for you. And if you hold on to God with your molar teeth, meaning your back teeth, not the front, because the front will fall out. But if you hold on to God with a firm grip, then what will happen is that he will become the eyes in which you see with, the ears in which you hear with, and the legs in which you walk with. So in other words, God will become your friend. But as long as you keep reaching out to the people, the places, and the things, you will always be disappointed. Your heart will always be broken because you keep reaching out for people to hold your weight, and they were never designed to hold your weight and to support your weight. Only God, and God is the creator of all things. So he is strong enough to hold you up, to hold you down, and to support you, and to help you climb in this world. And the thing about a mountain, the thing about climbing a mountain is that when you get to the top, people think that, oh, once I'm successful with my job, and once I'm successful with my relationship, then everything will be okay. Everything will be all right. But the truth about the top of the mountain is that the air is very thin at the top of the mountain. And anybody that knows anything about mountain climbing knows that the higher you go up, the thinner the air becomes. So what that means in essence is that it becomes harder and harder to breathe. And so as you climb through the different stages in life, and as you climb through the different levels in life, just like climbing a mountain, the altitudes and the climate will change. And you will need a different perspective and a different outlook each day. Because one day when you are climbing, maybe the weather might be warm or it might be hot, and so you may need shorts or you may need a t-shirt. But the very next day when you are climbing a mountain, the higher you go up, the more drastic the temperatures change from day to day. So what am I saying? That one day you can be having a great day and the sun can be shining on you, and the very next day the altitude or the climate or the weather itself in your life has changed. So now you are faced with a hardship and you are faced with a calamity. So what do? Do you reach out and grab onto a twig as though that twig or that branch was designed to help you climb, as though that twig was designed to help you grow and to pull you up? No. Reach out for God, and he is the only one that can help you up that mountain. He is the only one that can help you up the mountain. And one more thing before I close this conversation, I just want to say, don't be intimidated by the mountain. Don't be intimidated by the climb. A lot of people that are intimidated of climbing, these great heights and trying to reach the top of the mountain where the success is at. Success in your health, success in your family, success in your finances, success, in every area of your life exists at the top of the mountain. Don't be like the people that are so afraid of, so afraid of the trials and the tribulations that you face on your way going up, that they just stay at the bottom where the weather is predictable. Because isn't it? On the bottom, you still get Wi-Fi. You can check your phone. You can look at your phone and see that the forecast, the weatherman says that, today is going to be sunny, or today is going to be windy, or today is going to snow. But when you are climbing a mountain, there's no Wi-Fi. The only connection to a signal should be the connection that you have with God. That should be how you navigate. So don't be discouraged and don't be intimidated of the hardships, the calamities. Let them come thick. Let them come fast, because you know that God is your fortress and He has your back, He has your front. He will hold you down and He will hold you up on this mountain, on this climb to the top of the mountain, on this journey called life. See you on the other side. Peace.